Oh, my single tear. Gotta catch that for YouTube. #emotional. Fresh from a winter spent living in a minivan in Florida, the pandemic arrived and shook my whole life up. I lost my job in Chicago as a tour guide over the summer and suddenly realized that I didn't have anywhere better to be than Florida. I don't want to be a typhoid Mary. I don't have a toilet. So into March, I kept doing what I'd learned I'd love doing. I spent time at the Florida State Parks. I went on adventures. Here I am kayaking for the first time solo. Until slowly the resources I relied on closed and dwindled and disappeared. Eventually even the Florida State Parks closed. What was I supposed to do? Where was I supposed to stay comfortable? I needed to start renting. Hello everyone. Gotta move the kayak to shift gears. I'm moving into the spare room of my former boss in Sarasota, Florida, which is where I went to college. I don't think of myself as a Floridian anymore, but at this point, I guess it's time to register to vote down here. I'm gonna be here for summer. I was really sad, and I was trying really hard to pretend like I wasn't sad. But it was really hard for me to stop traveling, to stop living in the minivan, and to become a Floridian again. I mean, I even got my driver's license expired, so I got a Florida driver's license. It was like I was regressing back to my childhood, and it really freaked me out. And so I took the only solace that I knew how to take, which was spending lots of time in nature. Birds especially made me feel better, and I also indulged in borrowing my parents' kayak. Oh my gosh, I did it. Y'all, I'm on a boat. Everything's different now. Looking back, all I can see is how privileged I was to be where I was, doing what I was. Wow, this is flattering. But at the time, it didn't feel like that. I felt like I was desperately grabbing at the straw, and slipping and falling into despair. So I figured I should just sell my time and make some money. I got a job interview on Wednesday. It's to work in the meat department at a grocery store. Good morning, everyone. I have a job now. I work at the meat department of a grocery store. Maybe I'll save up for a fridge and solar for this van or a Prius. I will never forget how therapeutic it was for me to go get that meat job. The people there were so welcoming. They didn't care that I'd been traveling. They just needed help. And I was able to help and make friends. And I made some great friends. I also concentrated on reaching out to old friends. Picking up an order for a kayak and a paddle. Yes, I do have a kayak and a paddle in here already. I am sure I will be able to figure out how to hoist this shit onto my van. I feel like the strongest person in the world. That's my friend Tacy and her rad boyfriend Eric. We met in college a long time ago, and she's been in some of my videos. She's worked at a botanical gardens for a long time, and we love going on nature adventures together. And yes, I picked up a kayak in the big scary outside world for her during the coronavirus lockdown. And here's Cameo. Yes, her name is actually Cameo. She's Tacy's roommate, and we went out paddling one of our first trips together. It was really magical. So yeah, there were some bright spots during the pandemic for me, especially when I got to hang out in the backyard with Tacey, Cameo, and the rest of the crew. The beautiful yard that Tacey gardens as an expert gardener.
I'm busy. See? My coconut. Am I making you jealous?
And I got to hang out with my pregnant friend Chelsea. And Russell. And then they invited me to move in next door. This morning I'm moving house. From the first place that I rented during the pandemic to the second place that I'm renting during the pandemic. The next will be a whole house to myself. It's my friend's Airbnb that is not being rented because of the pandemic. Just wanted to show you what I have to pack and move back into my van. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be such a big deal to move. And it's not. This place is so nice. This is my life now. Watching Russell husk a coconut is 100% worth me moving here. So, although I had good company, here I am decorated with plants by my friend's child. Thank you, Sage. I still was pretty blue. And I haven't mentioned one of the main things that I took solace in during the renting period of the pandemic for me, and that was my van. My van was my rock. I used it to transport my kayak, but I also just used it to feel better about life. I'm cleaning out the van. I have swept out my little mat, taken, well, almost everything out. I'm gonna be kicked out of this Airbnb, and it just has me feeling like maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do this while I work. Spoiler alert, no, I didn't move back into the van in the middle of the Florida hot summer, thank God. But I did seize every opportunity I could to feel free in it. You know? This van represents a freedom. It is the symbol of a freedom that I believed I lost in the pandemic. To know I have this little mobile hotel room, boy, it just gives me a sense of security and freedom. This makes me so happy. I am so happy. I am so happy. Positively mineral. That's how you achieve that really desirable opaque white coat. I'm really just gonna apply this everywhere though. This is my look for the day. What do you think? Like and subscribe. This is where I am. You gotta do this shot, right? Oh, it's like so comfortable and convenient to live in a van, you guys. Oh, look at me. I look like I'm wearing a diaper. I love this diaper. You know, I haven't been doing this so much recently. Going out in my van. I have a backyard where, that's when it started raining today. 2 of my friends and I went out and danced naked in the rain. So I have that. But something is calling me to go out today. I think it's the rain and the clouds. I'm gonna go see what the park holds for me. LOL. The park where I used to go take my van into the middle of nowhere is now a COVID testing site. Can't catch a break sometimes in this pandemic. Spring turned into summer, as evidenced by love bug season in Florida, and my housing situation changed again. I woke up early to move out of the house, the Airbnb. I And believe it or not, I'm feeling the stress and heaviness of a move. So I would consider signing a lease, and every time I look at rent prices, I'm like, oh. I was waiting for evidence of how unhappy I was during this time in my life, and I finally found some. I feel really shitty. Poor baby. I hate palmetto bugs. This is just a normal roach in Florida, by the way. Oh, it's alive. Things have escalated in just a couple of days. 1, 2, 3. And inexplicably, body parts. Legs. Even in here and there. What is going on? Palmetto bugs are the only bugs I'm viscerally afraid of. Why am I being confronted with my phobia so directly? And then 2 things happened very quickly in my life. I just found out that I have 4 days off in a row from my meat department job at the grocery store. And I guess I'm going on a road trip. So stay tuned for a good old-fashioned tour of St. Augustine, Florida. Probably my single favorite place in all of Florida. But maybe that's just because I had such a great trip. Thanks for watching. See you whenever I get the next video out. It's like being conscious during a surgery. Watching video footage of this crap.